I left the steelworks before it closed because I could see the writing on the wall. When Hounsgill was closing, I started to look for employment, and fortunately I did find employment and left before the steelworks closed. I left in the September, October prior to 1980 because you could see the imploding of what was happening. The factories were shutting down. Ransom Hoffman, Pollard was closing down. They were closing down the local pits in the area that there was many around. And when the steelworks was the biggest employer, the next thing was that after the steelworks closed was the General Hospital. That was the next biggest employer in Downside. That started shut wards down, and then the local authority was the next biggest employer, and then you've had the cutbacks on the local authority. So it's been an imploding situation instead of exploding and bringing other things in. All the possible avenues where people could go into weren't there. There wasn't a chance because they were going through big changes themselves, and that's the reason people had to migrate and go down to the Yorkshire, Wales, Scotland, even emigrate because there wasn't the industry or the chance for youngsters to learn skills where they could be brought on and learn new skills. They had all gone. Everything had gone.
If you were lucky, like I mean, in my class there was 14 of us from the company, all doing electronics at South Shields Marine and Tech. You know, Billy Martin, Ali, Joe Green, loads of them. You know, all in my class. There was 14 of us, and there was lads from other places as well. But there was 14 of us from the company in that class, and there must have been other lads in doing engineering or whatever they were doing, different things. You know, and so you know there was a lot of that going on, and you did get paid for a year. Actually, I was on more money on that year because you got your wage and you got no off takes. Yeah. So I was actually getting more on the year I was at college than I was when I was working at the company. I thought it was great. You know?
There's that level of support that we've kind of talked about all the time, and it runs through the company. Do you know, it runs through what we talked about in terms of sport, didn't we? And that there's never perhaps been a replication of that hasn't happened since then, where you had that kind of the big powerful sort of animal, as it were, the company who's feeding all these various sports that John's talked about as well. And it's you know, and Paddy mentioning that about the sponsorship really, which is what it amounts to, of you whilst you were at college. And I can see how people feel ambivalent about concert then and now. You know, that some people, you know, you're talking about yourself, that for you it's not the same place.
No, it's certainly not.
Yeah, well, the chance was there for the academics who actually had the basic skills to go there, but there was a lot of people who were just general people who were working on the production, didn't have the academics behind them to actually go on for further education, learning further skills. They're the ones who actually suffered more than anything else. And that's the people who possibly never ever got another job. They became entrenched. They had no prospects. Their children had no prospects, and it caused a major depression within the area. And we're starting to come out of it now, but there's still the scars from what happened within the steelworks, and there's a lot of people still bitter because their livelihood had gone, their standard of living had gone, and they've been suffering ever since. And it's morally wrong. What
I mean, there was no labouring jobs, was there? That was the thing. You know what I mean? Like what they used to be calling operatives, didn't they? They used to call them operatives. You could be an operative. And there was no operatives or labouring jobs left, like really.
I mean, if you go back right to the 60s, somewhere, you were a plumber's mate, you were a fitter's mate, you were a welder's, even a welder's mate, or a plater's mate, or something like that. But then later on, you had men just working on their tods. Yeah, you know, if you wanted to drop a line or something like that, you'd shout the nearest labourer and just say, "Hey, hold on to this for us, will you?" And such, you know, drop a line, such. And that was all gone. The whole lot was gone. So what? How many jobs is like that? I mean, once upon a time it was like everybody had a mate, no matter what, and sometimes you went out and drank with them and such. Like your social life's all gone. Like you're on about going for a pint after you know, where can you go for a pint now and see your mates or somebody? You know.
No, I get that's for sure. That's really good.
But the other thing, Ted, was a lot of us did our apprenticeship skills. Even when the steelworks was going on, we were very, very resentful to what we used to call diluties. They used to go away on a 6-month training course and come back. within the engineering, you had a section 1, which was time served engineer. But if you came in, you were a dilutey, you had a section 4 card or whatever, thing like that. But at that time is, within the skilled trades, within the steelworks, is people did not want to accept what we call diluters, people who had just done a 6-month training course. But this is the society we're in now, is a lot of young children and a lot of young people are doing these short courses to get a basic fundamental skills to actually move on from then, and a lot of them are very successful doing that. But we wouldn't embrace it at the time. They give the people to actually go ahead and try and do that. It's now turnabout that's a fact of life. It's the way that young kids can go now, do a course at the college, get the basic fundamentals, and then move on and progress through the education.
It was a bit ironic about the dilutes, like, Joe, because quite frankly, just speaking from you, in our apprenticeships, you never learned bugger all in the first 4 years. You know, you could sit by Nelly and learn something when you weren't brushing the floor and making a tin can for the fish and chips. Quite honestly, you know, that's what you got as an apprenticeship. I got wrong for scouring all the cups. I never learned anything in my apprenticeship. I learned more in the first year out, where I went out on the job and started learning it myself. I didn't learn anything in my apprenticeship.
No, I think you're wrong. I think on the engineering side, you did your spell in the fitting shop, where you learned how to do milling, drill, did all your
Might have
basic,
been different to that, just
and you learned on
sparkly.
basic fitting in the mills and everything like that. So you did get some very good training as far as I could do.
I think you learnt a lot without realising it.
Definitely.
Because you were actually, you had sort of role models alongside of you, didn't you? Well, you know, whether you liked it or not, you were picking those skills up all the way. But you're right what you said, like, the time when you really learn is when you come out of your time that first year, because you know you have to do it. You're on your own.
Well,
and that's
for
when you
us,
learn.
what happened was, if you weren't any good or made a name for yourself and got a place to go, you were in what was called the pool. And then when jobs broke down, you were sent out the pool, which used to be in Works Electric, right? In the billet mill, Works Electric. So the first year I went out work like mad, and I took over Alan Brown's job, who used to be our foreman, our charge hand, sorry, Alan Brown, and I was in the old Melton shops. I became an electrician for the old Melton shops.
He's a manager of football club, wasn't he?
But so that was, you know, that's the way it worked. That's the way it worked for us, like. But funny.
I think in the fitting shop, with John, you worked the fitting shop a bit, John, didn't you? We got quite a good training, I would say. When I was 21, from like it was like the 5 years then, you know when we started, I would say, well, you had to, as you say. I was working on the lathes, and you had to be producing, and you know. So I would say we got quite a good.
Even when you were apprentices, you were on piecework on the lathe.
On piecework.
You were on the lathe. You had to produce, and you had to learn it. You had to get your skills, and you learned your skills in the fitting shop. You learned the skills at the engine sheds, and on various things. You learned your skills at various departments. Even at the TRD, I learned skills in the TRD, which I thought I would never ever use again. But
I mean, we went around, you should, as you know, as you're an apprentice, whatever apprentice you were, you went round every department for 3 months, didn't you? You know, from Templetown to Felcourt Works, I went round them all, like, where I learned bugger all. Like, really. Maybe it was just me, maybe I was a bit thick, you know, I don't know. Or maybe it was just lazy electricians or what.
You didn't really have time to learn now, did you? It was just like a tour you had. You know?
Exactly.
I loved the blast. I loved the blast. I was on with a lad called Davy Young, but he was shifts, like, but every time I was on with him, I enjoyed it, like, because I went all over the centre plant a whole lot. Yeah. Rather be stuck in one place just watching the bloke working.
Yeah.
You enjoyed yourself, you had something to do. You know, you're a bit wary of the things going overhead, like, get out the light, you stupid old, you know, and then you had to run, like, you know. But I enjoyed all that, just getting out.
You run about electricians, mate. Mine at the blast furnaces was Arthur Dickinson. I don't know if he's still alive, actually. Last time I saw him was in the steel club. Arthur Dickinson, but he actually saved me life. I was down on the overhead cranes. Really, they should switch the other bugger off, you know. But it's still going up and down. And I went, and this crane was off. And I opened the box, and the live wire was right out the thing, you know, the main cable, like, you know, 500 volt. And this next one came in, bashed into that, and it blew up in my face, like, all my eyebrows off here, all my eyelashes and everything. But he punched us in the gut and put us down on the thing and held us. You know, because you know what the walkways were like, and then you were off the thing, like. So he saved me bloody life, you know. Having an electrician's mate, thank Christ for that, you know. Because that was a close one.
Maybe the apprenticeship says more about you than the scheme.
Yeah. But I mean, I was never suited to be an electrician, that's for sure.
But Paddy, every time you got a job, you got a shock.
Yeah, well, I did. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I thought I was dreaming, and most of the time I was. Our lass was out shopping one day and she saw me auntie and she says, what are you after? She says, oh, I'm buying a pillow. She says, a pillow? She says, ah, it's for Paddy for work. And she wasn't kidding, you know. Get yourself a nice pillow on the bench there.